spending time with her husband, friends, family, including her 12 grandchildren. In her spare time, she connects and celebrates with the women involved in motorsports, taking you behind the wall about their journey of life, racing, and how they juggle everything to make it all work. Welcome to Racing Girls Rock Podcast. Strap in, window nets up, the pedals are down, and when the green flag drops, we go.
Well, hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with Racing Girls Rock Podcast, and I'm coming to you from my office in Kalamazoo, Michigan, where today the high was 39 degrees. I'm not excited about that at all. It's been raining all day. The leaves are blowing, and it's miserable. And I do not like this kind of weather, but I'm going to have to get used to it because I'm going to be here most of the winter instead of being out in Arizona. So I'm going to put up with that today, but I've got a very special guest today. Jillian is with me today, and so we're just going to get started, Jillian, and I want to start by welcoming you to the show, and I want you to just start by telling the audience a little bit about yourself, your name, where you live, who your pets are, do you have any siblings, anything you want to share so we can get to know you better.
Okay.
Start with your name. What's your name?
My name is Jillian Cole.
And how old are you, Jillian?
I'm 14.
14 years old. So are you in high school yet or still in middle school?
I'm in high school.
Are you a freshman?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a freshman in high school. All right. And do you live with your parents?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have any siblings?
I have a brother.
Is he older or younger?
Twins.
Oh, he's a twin. Well, I didn't know you had a twin brother. So that's pretty cool. Is it fun to have a twin brother or not so much?
Sometimes we annoy each other a lot.
Do you? Yeah. Boys can be really annoying, and he would probably say that girls can be annoying, but it's kind of cool. And as you get older, I think it'll be better, even better that you were twins. So that's pretty fun. Do you have any pets?
Yes, I have a lot of pets.
What kind of pets do you have?
I have cats, dogs, and fish.
Okay, that's cool. I love pets. We have a dog. He's getting old. His name is Chopper, and he just wants to sleep all day long. So he kind of, he's gotten old as my husband and I have gotten old. So we all like to have our naps in the afternoon. But you're young, and so you probably like to play with your dogs and your cats, and that's a good thing to have when you're a kid, is to have some pets. So if you go to school, you're in high school, what do your classmates think about you being a race car driver?
I do online school, so not a lot of my classmates know about it.
Okay. All right. And have you always done online school or just since COVID?
Just since COVID.
Yeah. A lot of kids, once they started that during COVID, they've stuck with it. Two of my grandkids are doing the same thing. They stuck with online school as well. So do you have a favorite subject in school?
My favorite subject is language arts.
Okay. All right. And what's your favorite thing about that? The reading, the writing? What do you enjoy about it?
I like the reading. Some of the stories are really interesting.
Yeah, I love to read too. So that's something that'll serve you all your life. So is there anything about you that we should know that doesn't have anything to do with racing? Do you have anything that's just kind of different about you that is an interesting fact?
I play a lot of video games.
Okay. All right. You're the age for that. What ones do you play?
I play Roblox mostly. I also play Animal Crossings, and when I'm really bored, I play Minecraft.
Okay. So I knew you were going to say Roblox because I have lots of grandchildren, and that's the most popular game. What they want for their birthdays are gift cards for Roblox. And so you're probably the same way. So other than racing, do you play any other sports like softball or anything?
No,
Okay. And is that because racing keeps you busy?
pretty much.
Yeah, that's what I figured. And I didn't ask you where do you live, Jillian? Let's share about where you live. What town?
I live in Rio Linda, California,
Okay. So is it warm there today?
in the
Oh
80s.
yeah. So it's nice there today compared to 39 here in Michigan. So I envy you. I'd like to see some of that sun today. So as far as racing goes, do you have any lucky charms or any superstitions about racing? A certain shirt that you wear or certain socks, anything like that?
Not really.
No. Okay. All right. So let's talk about your racing then. How long have you been racing?
For 5 years.
5 years. All right. So you're 14. So you started when you were about 9 years old. And how did you start? Who introduced you to racing?
My mom did.
Your mom. And was she a race car driver?
My grandpa was.
Oh, your grandpa was. Okay. So did you go and watch him race? And that's how you kind of became acquainted with racing?
I wasn't born at the time, but we always went to a racetrack and watched racing, so it got me really interested in it.
Okay. And so what kind of a cart, how did you start? What was the first thing you drove?
A quarter midget.
A quarter midget.
I
Okay.
guess technically her first race was at the All American Speedway. They did Power Wheels racing. That is her first race, was in a little Power Wheels.
Okay, that's cool. So they do that at some of our tracks too, like the little 3 year olds, 4 year olds. They have a night where they do that. And that's so fun to watch because they're all over the track. They don't even know how to steer. Most of them don't. So that's kind of fun. So you started in a Power Wheels and you moved up to quarter midgets. And what are you racing now? Are you still racing quarter midgets?
I'm still racing quarter midgets, but my sponsor might put me in outlaw carts.
Okay. Awesome. Well, that would be a big step up and that would be a lot of fun, wouldn't it, to move up to an outlaw cart?
Yeah, I already
Yeah.
drive it sometimes.
Okay. So do you already have a cart that you obviously that you drive?
Yeah, my sponsor has it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about your sponsor because we want to give them a shout out. So who is your sponsor and how did you get acquainted with them?
J&M Motorsports.
My sponsor is J&M Motorsports. He saw that I had his dad's old car, so he wanted to sponsor me with another car so he can get that car.
Okay. All right. That's cool. And is he from the same town that you're in?
Yes.
Okay.
It was one of the last cars his dad built. So it's like, okay, I want that back, put it in my trailer.
Okay. Very cool. So it kind of started out with his dad, went to you, and now he's going to get it back. So that's pretty cool. All right. So tell me, you've been racing quarter midgets. So what kind of success have you had? Have you had any um, wins? Have you had any heat race wins? What and like I know quarter midgets have lots of different, like they have restrictor, blue Honda, red Honda, all those different kinds. Because my granddaughters used to race those. So tell me what have you done in your career and what has been your success? What are you driving right now? What kind of quarter midget?
I drive a light 160 and a light world formula.
Okay. And have you had any wins? Have you done really well? What's been your best finish?
In light world formula, my best finish have been main wins. I haven't really had a lot of wins in light 160.
Okay. Well, it's all a learning process, right? So that's good. And when you were younger, what was your favorite thing about being in a quarter midget? Why have you stuck with it? What do you love about racing?
I like the speed.
Okay. Are there a lot of other girls that race with you?
There's 4 others.
Okay. And do you all get along good or are you very competitive with each other?
They're all in different divisions.
They're all in different divisions.
Oh, okay. So you don't have to race against each other.
You have
Okay.
for racing now. Probably next season. One's moving to Light 160 with you.
Okay.
And
So
she's
next season you'll have somebody to compete against another girl. So mostly then you're just been racing against the boys, right?
Yeah.
All right. So when you finish better than they do, how do they act about that? Are they good to you? Are they mad? Do they try to wreck you? What do they do?
One person gets really mad and frustrated about it. One time we were coming off the track and he hit the back of my car.
another time he's flown past her.
And another time he what?
He flew past her. She was going off slowly, like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
He flew past her to get to the scale house first.
Okay. All right. So he needs to grow up a little bit and realize that women are part of motorsports. And sometimes he's going to get beat by one. And so he needs to grow up and figure that out, doesn't he? So, yeah. But most of the time, would you say the other boys are fairly good to you, fairly nice to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good because they need to learn that at a young age that, women are going to be a part of this and they need to, realize that. So, do you have a home track where you race all the time or do you travel?
I have a home track I just race at.
Okay. And what track is that?
Um,
No,
Capital
quarter midget
Quarter Midget
association.
Association.
Okay. And that's the name of the quarter midget? And is that the name of the track or where is the track that you race?
The track is in Rio Linda.
Okay. All right. And do they have other kinds of races there or is it just quarter midget?
It's just quarter midgets.
Okay. All right. So are there any other tracks that you'd like to go race at? Or so far you're good just racing at that track?
I like just racing at this track because I've tried like asphalt tracks and I always come home with my car in pieces.
Okay. So is this a dirt track then?
Yeah.
Okay. So you like the dirt. You don't mind getting dirty. No. So you talked about moving up to cage carts. So I have a really good friend whose daughter races cage carts and she races at English Creek in Iowa. Have you ever heard of that track?
No.
So in the summertime in August, they have the English Creek Nationals and people come from all over the United States to this little track out in the middle of nowhere in Iowa. And you're going to have to put that on your bucket list to come out there to that because that's a really big deal. So I'll remind you about that at some point down the road here so that you can put that on your bucket list. So what's your car color and number and how did you choose it?
Well, this is one of the cars I drive.
Okay. The blue one?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's your car number?
It's
I don't have an
18.
answer for that.
It was my
Is there something
sponsor's
else I can
number.
help with?
Okay. And did you pick the number or did somebody else?
I don't.
Did you pick your car number?
No, it was my sponsor's number, so I decided to go with that.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. And we talked about your best finishes. So who helps you with your car?
My dad.
And what does he do?
All the gearing, oil changes, pretty much everything on the car.
Okay. So are you learning how to do some of that with him?
Yeah, so far I've learned how to change the oil.
Okay. That's good. That's a good place to start. And then do you scrape your tires for quarter midgets? No. Okay, because I was thinking my granddaughters used to have to scrape their tires when they raced. So, but they raced on concrete and you're on dirt, so it might be a different
Yeah,
thing.
you don't have to scrape for dirt.
Okay.
She does have another car. She has a red one that's going to match her Jimmy's Peniagua's car. He used to do sprints, so he wanted to have a car that looked like a sprint car. So she has a red one too.
Okay, awesome.
And
That's
we
going to be
also
fun.
have more sponsors that she didn't say.
Okay.
So we have Manolis Motorsports, Econo Heating and Air, and TEC Creations and Williams Racing.
Awesome. So you have quite a few sponsors. That's great. A lot of kids in quarter midgets, don't get that very many sponsors. So that's really good. Awesome.
Yeah. They're all racers that used to race out at like the All American Speedway in Roseville. They all came from there. I've been going there since I was a kid, and that's when my dad raced. My mom even raced too. They had enough women racers at that time that they had a powder puff division.
Okay.
So,
All right. So you
we
come
joined-
from a long line of racers, don't you,
yes,
Jillian?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. So it's kind of in your blood, I think, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you had something happen at the racetrack that if you had to do it over again, you would do something differently about it?
Well, I was racing with my brother. I went to pass him, and he got mad, so he decided to flip me over.
Oh, that's not very nice for your brother to do. So I was going to ask you if your brother raced. So he does race as well?
Yes, he's the car on top.
Okay. All right. And so do you always race against each other?
No, we just started racing against each other on our last race.
Okay. All right. Well, he's going to have to get used to the fact that you might beat him once in a while, right?
Right.
Right. Absolutely, for sure. So, if you have a bad day at the racetrack, how do you handle that? What do you do? Do you talk to your mom? How do you handle, because everybody has a bad day at the racetrack. I don't care who you are. So, how do you handle that?
Sometimes I'll talk to my mom. Other times I'll talk to my aunt if she's there. And if like nobody else is there to talk to or they're busy, I'll just like sit down, relax, and look at my phone or something.
Okay. All right. Because tomorrow's another day and you get to race again, and it's not going to last forever, right? Whatever happened.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So do you have someone that inspires you or inspired you to start racing? I know you said you went to watch your grandpa. So was that who inspired you to get started, or was it your mom, or who? Do you have somebody?
My mom.
Your mom? Okay. Yeah. I figured as much. So you're in quarter midgets now. You're going to maybe move up to cage carts. You're only 14. You got a lot of years left to race. What is your long term? Have you thought about like long term? What would you really like to do as you get older, out of high school and as an adult? Is there a certain class or kind of car you would like to drive?
I haven't really thought that far yet.
Okay. All right. That's okay. You don't have to. Some kids do. And some kids are just like, I'm going to do well in the cart and the class that I'm racing, and then we'll see what happens. So that sounds like that's what you're going to do. So do you have a social media account where people can log in and follow your racing?
My mom posts all of our races on her Facebook page.
Okay. And what is that? What's the name of the page?
Well, it's just my personal page. I haven't done a racing page.
Okay. All right. And what's your personal page so people can follow Jillian if they want to?
Well, I'll do a racing page back up and then I will send you that information.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Because a lot of times after you're on the podcast, people like to try to follow and keep track of what you do. So that would be good. So you're, 14, you're right in the middle of the ages where social media is a big deal. Do you think it's good? It helps you, get your name out there for racing, or how do you feel about using social media for your racing?
I think it puts it out there a bit more.
Yeah. And gets people to know who you are too, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. And your brother too. What's your brother's name?
Logan.
Logan. Okay. We got to give Logan a shout out too. So yeah, for sure. So you said you like to do video games. Have you ever done like iRacing or any of those racing kind of games?
No.
No? Okay. Just do you think those, if you had a chance to do those, do you think those would help with your racing or not so much?
It could probably help because I'm not really that aggressive that much, so that could make me more aggressive to things.
Okay. Yeah, and it helps you learn some of the tracks too, for sure. Yeah. All right. So, do you think motorsports is a good sport for women to be involved in?
Yes.
And why, if a little girl came up to you and said, "Jillian, I want to race like you," what would you tell her? Do you have any advice for her, or what would you say to her about getting involved in motorsports? Something that you've learned since you've been involved.
Don't let a boy or any other person stop you from doing something like racing.
Yeah. Good advice. Very good advice for sure. And we already talked about that there's other girls that race. Have you ever thought that you might be a role model for other younger girls?
I've never thought of that.
Okay. So, when you're racing, there's little girls sitting in the stands watching, and whether you know it or not, you might become a role model for them. So how you act on and off the track, they're watching. And a lot of times they're watching and you don't even know it. And so I always try to remind girls that I talk to that whether you're aware of it or not, there might be some little eyes that are following you. So you have to always kind of keep that in mind for sure.
We do arrive and drives at our track.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of little girls that want to get in there and do it, but they're really scared.
Okay.
I use Jillian as an example. I'm like, see her right there because she's sitting in the chair. I said, she races. She does 2 divisions out here. She started just like you. When she got in the car, she was really scared.
Uh-huh.
She got out there and did it, and now look at her.
Right. Right.
I'm like, okay, I'll get in the car.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. That's a really good thing for your mom to share that because it is a little scary. Even for some little boys, it's a little scary to kind of get out there, and they think that those carts are going really fast and quarter midgets and whatever. And so you have to try it and see if it's something that you like. And then usually once they get started, you can't stop them from going back. That's the part as parents. If you don't want your kid to do this down the road, don't take them to a try and ride because they're probably going to love getting in those carts for sure. So sometimes when I talk to girls, they tell me that they don't always feel like they fit in. And usually that's girls who go to a public school, where other kids are doing other things. And on the weekend, you're at the racetrack where you're homeschooled. But have you ever felt like you didn't fit in somewhere? And if so, tell me about it.
In 5th grade, I wasn't homeschooled. I actually went to an elementary school and I didn't really fit in at the point. And it came to 6th grade, kids kept kind of bullying me about it, like saying quarter midget racing was easy. And it was just really aggravating.
Yeah. I hear that, Jillian. I hear that so much. You're not alone. So many women, even older women, have told me that. And I don't know if you know who Rachel and Megan Meyer are, but they're sisters, and they were drag racers, and they're very successful drag racers. And I remember that both of them said to me, neither one of them felt like they fit in, especially in high school, because their friends, or what friends they did have, were off going to parties and doing things on the weekend, and they were always out of town traveling or at the racetrack. And so I think that's a common something common for girls that are in racing. I think people don't understand how difficult driving a race car really is. Excuse me, that it really is. You have to be quite an athlete. You have to be strong, and you have to be mentally strong, and you have to go through adversity, and you have up days and down days. So you can learn a lot by being involved in racing that maybe you don't learn in some of the other sports at that early of an age. And the other thing I've noticed from a lot of the girls that I've interviewed, are that they're very mature for their age because they have gone through things that maybe are a little more difficult for girls at that age. And so it's not a bad thing that you are a girl and you're racing. And I always attribute it to they just don't understand. They don't understand the sport and they don't understand what it takes to be a part of it. So I'm going to ask you some little quick questions. These are some of your favorites. And so this should be kind of fun. Just whatever first comes to your mind, okay?
Okay.
All right. So what's your favorite food?
Ramen.
Ramen noodles?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite color?
Either black or red.
What's your favorite place to go on vacation? Where would you like to go if you haven't been?
Universal Studios.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a great place to go. What's your favorite candy?
Skittles.
Skittles. How about a favorite movie or actor or actress?
My favorite movie is Venom.
Okay. Do you have a favorite kind of music or musician or
I listen to like a lot of other different artists, so I don't really have a favorite one.
Okay. All right. Do you have a favorite professional race car driver?
Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon. That's because he's from California. Is that why?
He also raced at the track I raced at.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's a good reason for you to like him. What's your favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Okay. And what's your favorite restaurant?
Felipe's.
What is it?
Felipe's.
Oh, Felipe's. Okay. How about your favorite animal?
A cat.
Okay. How about a favorite number?
18.
18. I like 18 too. That's your number?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop it.
What's your favorite sports team outside of racing? A favorite sports team? Do you like college football or NFL, basketball, or do you not pay attention to any of that?
I watch WWE sometimes, so
Okay. All right. That's pretty cool. That's a good thing to watch. That's always fun and interesting. And I sometimes I have to laugh because I think, oh, they're such fakers, but we'll see. How about a favorite TV show?
Once Upon a Time.
Oh yeah, I know what that one is. I have grandkids, so I kind of keep up on some of that for sure. So Jillian, is there anything that I haven't asked you about that you or your mom would like to share with me about your racing, yourself, anything at all?
The restaurant that was her favorite, Felipe's,
Uh-huh.
they actually have her and Logan's picture on the wall with them in their cars.
Very nice. And is that a local restaurant there close to where you live?
Yes, I mean we're good friends with the owners and that too. So
Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad we gave them a shout out then because I'm glad they support you. That's good to know.
yeah.
Anything else that you'd like to share?
I have nothing else to share.
Okay. All right. So I don't have any more questions for you unless you have something else that you want to talk about or your mom has something to share. And if not, I just want to tell you I appreciate you taking time. I know this was your first podcast and you've made it through, Jillian. It wasn't too hard, was it?
No.
No. So next time it'll be easier when you do another one. And I'm sure you will, because once you get started and people start to know who you are and start to follow you, then people will start wanting to interview you and that kind of thing. So I want to just let you know, I appreciate you taking time to be on the show, and thanks to your mom for helping get it set up. And any last words that you have?
If you know somebody that wants to come try it out at a local track, go. Don't let anybody tell you can't do it.
Absolutely. I agree. And a lot of quarter midget tracks for sure, I know, do try and rides. And, that's my granddaughters went when they were, I want to say they were 5 and 7. They went to a try and ride, and their dad went home with 2 quarter midgets. And that's how that started. So, and now they're still, one of my youngest of the 2 is still racing, and she races a street stock. So, it's a good way to get started. And, we have to keep the kids involved in racing for sure. And I love seeing young girls like you, Jillian, get involved in racing. And I want to encourage you to encourage other little girls to pick up the sport and be part of it too. So thanks again for being on, and I'll follow and keep track of your racing career. Now, are you still racing, or are you going to be done for the season?
Our season's over.
Okay. And then do you start again in the spring?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I figured. You raced in the spring and the summer. Although probably in California, you could almost race year round, I would think. Does it get too chilly to race there?
Oh, it's the rain.
Oh, it's the rain. Yeah.
If the water gets too high, it runs into our track. So then we get really muddy.
Yeah. Okay. It's rain. That's, of course it gets cold in Michigan, but it's real rainy right now too. And so we're done racing here too. So, all right. Well, Jillian, you take care. Thanks again for being on, and I'll keep track of you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Racing Girls Rock Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at International Women's Motorsports Association, or on Instagram and Twitter at the IWMA Nation. And if you know someone that should be on our show, drop us an email at iwmanation@gmail.com.